wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Memories of the Cherry Blossom Throne. This evening's scene takes place at the rather palatial estate of Sengeki no Tatembe, the mistress of 1,000 masks. It is located ever so slightly outside the city walls of Kyoto as you wend your way around the Nara mountain into the Serengeti forest on the opposite side. The estate itself has been cut into the trees, has been built from the trees cut all around it, the forest having been cleared in order to form a rather large and well appointed garden. As you approach, either on foot or on the back of horses, towards the estate proper, the great doors, gates, open up to admit you into the large, well lit gardens towards the front of the estate, wherein this evening's festivities, a moon viewing, is to take place. It is the height of civilization. The creme de la creme of the city have arrived in mass. Many of the undead denizens stalk the evening. And we will begin going from my right to left. So we will begin with. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, Jesus. Rice Merchant, you're up first. Minori is up first. Get the gun.
The player of the Rice Merchant put in the text that he'd be right back, so please choose somebody else.
Okay. In that case, we will have Anthony. You are next.
Okay. Arriving, since I don't know this person, arriving on foot, with his 2 Yojimbo. If asked to do so, he will have them stand at the door. But unless asked to, he will take them in with him. He is a tiny Asian man, a little under 5 foot tall, and incredibly skinny by the looks of him. Wearing a fine silk kimono. Dark hair, blue-green eyes if anyone gets close enough to look. But if you do get close enough, you will feel a distinct chill in the air around him, as he carries always the touch of frost.
I will point out that your human Yojimbo and other entities like this are very politely told that they may wait in. There's a small kind of guard room that is off to the side of the main gate, and they are placed rather unceremoniously in there.
Like I said, if he is asked or advised, then he will say, "Wait here. If you hear screaming, run home. I will already be ahead of you."
All right. Next up, we have Chico. Chico.
Chico arrives on foot. It does look like he did put on clean clothes for this, and just kind of walks up the path.
With blood under one arm.
Does have a jar of blood. Also, big hat, and still has bandages covering his hands, so you can't really see any skin.
Okay, cool. You will, of course, be allowed in. Once again, there's not much fanfare, or there's not much kind of, pomp and ceremony at this point of the evening. So next up, we will have Lord Bato. Oh.
Lord Bato of Clan Shimazu will be arriving on horse, as is befitting of his status, with 2 retainers.
I actually did have a question about that, just a brief moment before we continue. Does Lord Shimazu have the inoffensive to animals merit?
No, but I'm happy to have the horse being one of his retainers. In other words, Gould.
Okay, that's fine. Because otherwise,
I think also if you have the right level of animal ken,
no,
you get around it as well.
No, What happens with animals, for the record, because this is important. If you got animalism 1, an animal is fine in your presence. If you have inoffensive to animals, an animal is fine in your presence. However, if you don't, the animal will automatically buck, shirk, and attempt to get away from you. So if you can do it, yes, you can actually ride a horse even without animalism or inoffensive to animals, but it requires a difficulty 8 roll in order to keep the horse under control.
That horse in particular is ghouled so that it doesn't throw him off.
That's fine. If you want to have it as one of your ghouls, you definitely can. That means you can have 2 ghouled horses because you get 2 animal ghouls for every retainer point.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'll discuss that later.
That's fine.
Anyway, so arrives, has the horses taken to probably some stables or, whatever. And as he is informed that his human retainers are to wait, he simply gives them a nod and also hands them a small jar of sake and telling them to have a pleasant time. Should they hear trouble, he will try his best to rejoin them. He himself, black hair, hazel eyes, perfectly average appearance, seems human enough, doesn't seem too pallid. And and for today, he's dressed in his better garments, as is befitting for the occasion.
Cool. Next up, we will have. Actually, hang on. We'll see. Liam, have you returned, or are you still absentee?
I have returned.
Very well. Do your intro.
All right, so Minori is going to turn up. He's going to actually not be dressed looking like a street vendor. He actually looks presentable at the actual station. But other than that, he's collected eyes for the situation, so he has a face. And he has a small bag with him which contains dumplings that he freshly made, which he's going to hand to someone.
Okay, they will look highly confused, but by God, they'll take those dumplings.
It's a nice gesture, and someone's got to eat his food.
And last but not least, Pusky, you're up.
Woohoo. So, Itakura, well, I'll just go by first name. Tomosuke is going to arrive by foot. He's dressed as befitting of a fairly wealthy traveler. With his, let's just find the name for the instrument, with his shamisen on his back, unstringed, which is also part of his getup, as it's a hidden protection against anyone who wishes to assail him on his travels. He wears a hat to keep his face mostly out of view, as he has a face that's both friendly to people as well as rather unforgettable. Yet it also causes him trouble, as it appears that other people have a similar facial structure to him. And he will, as mentioned, arrive on foot on his own and enter silently and calmly.
The first thing that all of you will notice as you enter into this particular estate is the serving staff. They are all exceptionally beautiful. When I say exceptionally beautiful from a mechanical perspective, no one who works in this place, be it a guard or be it a common server, is a below appearance 4. You are all reminded of the particular curse of this bloodline. When they see something of beauty, something that makes them feel something, they are almost required to collect it. That includes people as much as it includes objets d'art.
Cool, I'm safe.
All of a sudden, appearance 4 is definitely not going to help me.
I'm terrified. I have a really smooth face.
See, y'all trying to be pretty all the time.
Go for the one with the unforgettable face. That's going to be interesting.
You will see this woman step out from the main house, and she takes a few steps, the whispering silk of her exquisitely made kimono seeming to draw attention as it snakes along the ground. She is a vision of radiance, stunning alabaster skin, almost sheer perfection. Once again, from a mechanical standpoint, she has an appearance of 7.
Ooh.
Bloody
Actually,
hell.
please trigger the Toreador clan curse.
Which is
Self-control.
Fascination, I think.
Yes, it's a self-control roll difficulty 8.
so let me just find self-control. I have 2 dots and that says 2 dice, right?
Mhm. If you want to desperately avoid being entranced, I'd recommend spending willpower because you can do that.
Which gives me a lower difficulty.
Automatic success.
That's difficulty 8. I'll spend 1 willpower.
You still have to make the roll, but that's fine.
Let's just see. Oh, 2 successes. So that's 3 successes.
Wow, you're super good.
I am definitely entranced by her, but it does not appear as if he reacts in any physical way that anyone may notice.
All right. She extends her arms to the crowd and she says, "Welcome, honored personages. Tonight we see the moon. Tonight we, the children of the night, look upon it and its radiance. We are duly blessed. It is rare that a harvest moon should come when the moon itself is at its zenith, but tonight we will get to enjoy that fascinating spectacle. Please, you are my guests. Drink deeply. Welcome to my home. All I ask is that you would treat it with the same respect that you would treat your own dwelling, and then, well, we shall move from there. Until then, I shall simply remain your hostess. If any of you wish to speak with me, I will be more than delighted to share your company. Good evening." She bows her head very politely and will move off into the audience, into the crowd.
Tomusk is going to keep his eyes on her to make sure that wherever she goes, he's aware of her presence.
The main gate of the palace will grind open again slowly, and you will all see a very short, even by Asian standards, man enter into the party. He is dressed exactly as shown. The interesting thing, I say this for Anthony more so than anybody else. You cannot, even with auspex, see the through the holes of his mask. The eyepods. It is as if there is congealed darkness behind the eyes itself, so it obscures all reference to the actual eye, to the flesh beneath, etc. You would be convinced, if you were to examine it for any length of time, that some kind of thaumaturgical components were used when the mask was made.
Hmm. Interesting.
The figure
He's the
always
exact same height as me.
how do you, oh yes, because you made him to the exact same height as Tennessee, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm 5'2".
Yeah. But he will enter into the room. He's dressed in a very long black robe that covers his entire body. The only thing of interest on his person is you see the fact that he's got a number of he has a number of knives and a stake in his belt.
Is the robe of visibly like foreign design? Like the fashion doesn't fit local fashion.
No, it's kind of a black general coverall robe. Like it could be Gaijin. Actually, there is one. He's wearing a leather belt. That's pretty Gaijin.
Right. So he could be a foreigner. Or he could just be one of us with a really bad sense of fashion.
Or just likes belts.
It's
I mean, I was going
leather.
to say, yes, you
Filthy.
like belts, but then again, that could take an entirely creepy turn that I don't want to walk down. Thank you.
God damn it.
And here we are.
Minori's not even looking at him. He's just standing by the food table, just scanning the food.
If you didn't know better, Noodle Man made that food. Do you want to overturn the table?
I'm not going to do that. That seems against etiquette.
It's a little early in the evening for that.
Incidentally, Evan, this lady said drink well. Has she laid on people or booze?
Both.
Ah,
Oh, Minori. Sorry.
might not have been necessary to go hunting then.
I mean,
If lunch
mechanically
is
speaking, you're
provided.
not going to actually, unless you actually go and feed them from excess, mechanically speaking, you're not actually going to change your blood totals.
Drat. Mm.
But this figure will, he walks to the center of the crowd. People stand back and dip their head respectfully to him as he passes.
Do any of us know who he is?
Yes, he is in. If you want to read about him, he is in the the major NPCs, and that is what you will know about him. Everything that's written in the major NPC section, you are counted as knowing in character.
Fair enough. The same kind of deference will be shown by Lord Bateau as Hennessy passes.
Mm. Ooh, so he's actually a recognized lord.
Well, people call him Lord Hennessy because he is very, very, very potent.
Mm. Does he have formal title?
Define formal title.
Within our various sort of undead hierarchies, in the same way that like I have like an actual castle and vassals and retainers and such, does he have the same but bigger?
Temporally speak, if you want to roll me intelligence politics, you can.
I don't have any politics.
Ooh, I'm gonna roll it.
Yep, I have it. I have a high intelligence but no politics. That's why I didn't make the roll earlier.
Oh, you might want to invest in that.
I intend to when I get the first experience drop.
That's valid.
Uh,
You can't have everything. But yeah, if people want to roll intelligence politics on Hennessy, they can feel free to do so. It's standard difficulty.
seven.
I'm basically thinking that if he has official title, then my character would respect him because he is official and actual like important person. If he is just Gaijin that happens to be tough, then wariness is one thing, but actual respect is something else.
Difficulty 7, right? Is standard.
Oh, sorry, 6 is standard.
Oh. Three successes.
What is your intelligence specialty?
Good question.
3 successes.
If you get 2 successes or more, you'll get the information line. Wow, everyone knows. Okay, so Hennessy doesn't have a castle or or many retainers. He has at least one childer that a lot of people have met. she's rather charming. She's rather charming. Goes by the name of Whisper. She's not charming at all. Anyway, yes. So as for he has an incredibly powerful information network. Hennessy tends to know things before most people do. So he's very intimidating because he can figure out or ferret out most people's secrets if he chooses to. So a lot of people have taken to bribing him so that he doesn't work against them. So those of you who got the successes know the answer to that. Anthony, for all you know, he is the Queen of Timbuktu.
Well, I know the public stuff. I know he's referred to as Lord Hennessy.
Yep.
As to whether or not that's an official title or a piece of mockery, I don't know. But then again, he is Gaijin. So my default assumption is, or at least he seems to be Gaijin, because nondescript clothing on leather belt. Balance of probability is probably, in fact, yeah, public knowledge is that he is foreign. So default assumption would be he wouldn't have title. Okay? Wariness, but not actual respect. Okay.
Hennessy stops in the middle of the floor and he bows to the lady who is the host. The lady responds with a very polite bow. The two exchange a couple of words of pleasantries, but it's very difficult to hear at this distance. Before Hennessy will sidle off to the side and begin holding it. He seems to be watching the party more so than participating in it per se.
Right there with him.
But yeah, if any of you wish to interact with anything, or talk to each other, or talk to any of the NPCs, just let me know.
The funny thing is, the people who knew me beforehand don't know it's me now.
Oh,
You can always initiate the conversation.
good.
Hmm.
Or I can just push forward with the plot for the evening. That's fine too.
I just kind of want to look around.
Yeah.
And I'm currently thinking.
Yeah. So Lord Bateau himself, after seeing that, will just calmly start walking around the garden, basically seeking out one of the footpaths, and then just in calmed, measured steps, slowly walk it and until he hits the entrance again, taking his time, taking in the scenery, and low key keeping his ears nice and sharp and listening if somebody is particularly stalking him or not.
It is a very beautiful garden. Clearly, a great amount of effort has been put into the keeping, maintaining, and landscaping of it. You see a number of different plants and trees that have been all carefully pruned in order to create visual effects. Like you walk under the leaves of a weeping willow at one point, or the eaves of a weeping willow at one point, though the actual tendrils never touch you, etc. It is a stunningly creative work, very, very beautiful. The flowers are all in season, and even in the darkness of the night, you can still see the more muted appearance of their colors. So it is very pleasant. It will take you about 25 minutes to do the full circle of the gardens until you get back to the main grouping of the tables and the evening, etc.
Perfect.
Anybody else have anything particular they want to do?
I am just finding out what I need to find out, and then I will do something.
What do you
I'm just
find out? Sorry.
I'm just finding out the correct term to use for the whole Japanese part.
Oh, well, what do you need to know? I can just answer it.
The etiquette part, because I can't remember the ending for a lord or a lady.
Sama.
Sama.
There we go. Just found it. Yep. I will be there in just one moment.
Hmm.
Is there any ghosts around?
Hmm? No, there are no ghosts here. Interestingly enough, as a matter of fact, on the other side of the Shadowlands, you can actually see the walls of this. Basically, it's got the mansion itself has a curtain wall surrounding it in a very kind of Baroque Japanese style. You see a number of shining sigils on the wall that seem to be keeping out ghosts and spirits.
Rude. All right.
Hmm.
In that case, I'm
Evan?
just gonna wander around.
Chico is fucking livid.
These fucking people.
I'm having a thought, and it may or may not be one that's worth doing.
Mm-hmm.
With perception occult, could I pick up on, like, try and see if I spot any sort of, like, I don't know, symbolism, or maybe where they've positioned certain scrolls? Like, does this have any metaphysical representation? Does this mean anything in an occult sense? Sort of looking for occult patterns and things.
Okay, make me an intelligence occult roll, difficulty 7, needing 3 successes.
Diff 7, using how many successes?
3.
3, okay. Mm, 3 successes.
Okay, what were you trying to determine again?
Like, basically, is there anything in this room that has, like, in the way it's positioned, or what's written on, maybe on a scroll, or the way, like, certain types of incense have been preferred over others, whether or not there's any sort of particular occult significance to anything that's been done? Because you said I've already kind of picked up that there's something weird and thorny about Hennessy's mask, and given that he's here, it's kind of got my occult senses tingling.
Yes, as I said, I described the walls to Seiko. You can, or not to Seiko, to Terry. You can kind of feel the same residual magics ooze from the walls, some kind of warding preparation, you're almost certain. There are also several individuals here who have clothing that is dressed and decorated in very kind of arcanist styles. So the number of protective prayers, wards, and glyphs that date from the Persian Empire all the way up to the modern knights.
Do they seem like they're currently active, or like they're just sort of, they're waiting?
It seems as though they are actively pensive, perhaps be the best term that I would use. They are waiting to actually activate their effects should they feel threatened or should they be encouraged upon.
Right. Is it Am I getting the impression these things are sentient?
No. However, the person who controls them more than likely is.
Ooh, that's interesting. Because mostly with wards and stuff, you put them and then you walk away. That's interesting. Hmm.
So yes. Anyone else wish to do anything?
I think I'm about ready for
Okay.
Tomoska to approach the lady, the hostess lady of the night.
Okay. She is standing with a small group of other individuals who appear to be having a rather hushed conversation. Um, she will turn very slightly when you approach her, and she doesn't give you a full head bob by any intention or stretch of the imagination. She basically very softly dots her head to you before, not quite 100% turning back her conversation, but more.
Okay, Tomoska's going to do a full curtsy bow of a full 45 degrees as he goes Konbanwa, Sengeki-sama, because I'm a freaking nerd. And then he continues by saying, I thank you very much for the invitation tonight. It is a great honor to be here. Although the moon definitely is beautiful tonight, it pales next to the beauty of our hostess.
She looks down at you, and it is very much a. She's slightly physically shorter than you, I would suppose. How tall are you?
He's about 5'6".
Yeah, she's only about 5'5", 5'4". So she looks up at you because she is quite diminutive, but it is clear as though she's looking down at you, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And she says, um, I beg your pardon, Pooski, what was that?
Oh, you didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. But she looks down at you, and she looks up at you rather, and she will say, "You will forgive me, I hope. A face that I do not know. How tantalizing."
I do apologize for not introducing myself. I am Itakura Tomosuke, a musician by trade. And as far as I have traveled in our beloved country, I have rarely come across such beauty as I have tonight. If it turns to silence, he's going to continue after a short while with if you would so desire, I would be very pleased to perform a bit of music for you at any moment should you wish to be
She
entertained by me.
she claps both her hands together for silence, at which point the entire room comes to an absolute halt, and she will say, "My lords, my ladies, it would appear as though this young man wishes to play for us. Why don't you play for us?"
As you most graciously wish. And he will take his instrument to prepare it by stringing it up as he moves to a point where he can be observed by as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to perform.
All right, what are you going to perform?
He's going to play for them on his shamisen, which is going to be a tune that's going to set the mood for a proper moon viewing, which means it's not going to be too intrusive on conversation, but more like it's going to be there present in the background.
Okay. Would you like to roll me your dexterity plus your performance? You can add your celerity to that.
So celerity to reduce the difficulty or to add to the dice.
Add to the dice.
Okay. What's the difficulty?
Standard diff.
That's 7, right?
Seven, did you say?
Yeah.
Good
Start.
lord. All right. You play such a
Oh, no,
sweet.
no, 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 no. 7 for the difficulty.
Oh,
6.
okay. Roll the dice.
5 successes.
All right. So with that in mind, you are able to successfully don and confuse the owner of this particular a particular mansion for a few moments. You can see actual emotion filter into those glass-like eyes as she looks at you, tapping a finger against her chin. When eventually, what kind of song do you play? Is it happy? Is it sad? What emotion are you trying to convey?
He's trying to convey something that fits with the harvest moon, so it's. I think he's trying to be a bit more of an. Considering this is a pretty high social gathering, he's trying to be a bit more into the melancholy of them being children of the night, while still performing what regular humans would do.
So, she will look down at you when you have finished playing. Her hands come together and she will say, "For such a marvelous gift of sound, you must let me repay the gift in kind. What service may I render unto you in that case, darling little one?"
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. It is a great honor to be able to perform for such an esteemed person. I'm sure that any gift that you may have would be more than greatly appreciated. Although I would most prefer a regular place to apply my trade with my instrument.
Okay. She will look at you and she will say, my, modesty. That's something you don't see very often. Don't you know it's very rude to not address your superiors when they speak to you, child?
I do apologize for the delay in my uh, replies. I am simply struck by the beauty I find tonight, and it is taking my words from me. I'm just finding out what he's going to ask her. I assume that he knows about the house she operates within the city. Evan,
Big green?
I assume he knows about the house she operates within the city.
Yes, you do.
He's going to give it a moment, then he's going to say, perhaps, as I've heard around the country that you you have the most exclusive of houses in the entire empire. Uh, if it would honor me greatly if you would allow me to have a room there and to ply my trade and to perform for the customers willing to listen to me.
Very well. You wish a contract. I'm sure that we will be able to satisfy you with something. Though now is not necessarily the time to talk about it. Go and speak to my business manager on Monday, and he will, I'm sure, set you up something that would be infinitely more suitable for skills.
As you wish, milady. Unless you ask for it, I shall bother you no further tonight. And then he bows before the audience and steps aside to let them resume what they were doing before.
Does anyone else wish to do anything?
Not really.
Okay,
Just spectating.
very good.
Making
All
my
right.
way back to the people. That's all.
Okay. By the way, I do apologize. I think there's been some lag on my side, so I do apologize if you were talking to me and I was a bit slow in my responses.
Oh, that may have been a bit. Once or twice black moments. Then again, I'm sitting here halfway shuddering because it's freaking cold outside.
Okay. It is this moment, by the way, guys, that something interesting will happen. All of the torches that light the festivities and all of the lanterns will be blown out
On
as
purpose?
as a great rush of air washes over them, extinguishing the candle and the firelight.
And Auspex 1,
Same thing here.
I'm heightening my eyes.
Okay. For the record, that doesn't actually let you see in the dark.
No, it'll improve my chances of spotting something.
Yeah, I was just Primal 1 lets you see in the dark. Fun fact.
And also, the moon is quite bright tonight. It is
Yep.
a moon viewing,
It
so
is
there
a hard.
should be at least some light.
Yes, there is. At the center of the gala evening, there had been a rather beautiful homage, rather beautiful. It's almost like a shrine that had been built and decorated to the moon spirits. That immolates. It bursts into green flame. Would everyone please make me rush Shrek tests? It's not too bad because you're not standing directly in front of it. However, it is something to be mindful of. It's going to be courage, and it's going to be courage, and it's going to be difficulty 5.
Just straight courage.
Just straight courage.
Before that burst into green flames, Minori had just casually assumed that this was just so they could better see the moon. Then fire started spurting out of the middle of the court.
This could turn into something hideous.
Double success.
You only need the 1 success, just a little reminder, but yeah, that's fine.
What was the difficulty?
It's difficulty 5.
Okay, 3 successes.
3.
Yay.
2 successes.
We're just quietly sat here going, fire's no biggie.
The fire at the center of the shrine, which as it burns, comes to a central point. The fire basically forming into an orb before it shatters outwards, washing over several of the kindred, lighting them flame.
Oh shit.
Right.
You hear screams and cries as several individuals, many of whom some of you may have known, at least one Toreador and Nosferatu, burn to a crisp, their bodies turning to ash as they desperately try to put out the flames.
Evan,
Yeah, me.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any like heavy fabrics nearby?
Not really.
Right. In that case, I'm going to call. As I do this, I'm going to call out, "I'm sorry, my lady," as I pick up a tatami mat and start trying to beat out the flames.
All right.
Because I know with fire you can smother them. So wham, wham. We need to try and hit. I'm going to try and smother as much of the flames as possible without setting the tatami on fire.
By the way, if you have, I know Anthony does. If you have at least one dot of if you have at least one dot of thaumaturgy and aspects, you'll be able to see the fact that the fire is not natural.
Yeah. My first assumption, because I have a ritual that lets me do it, was that this was an actual effect from taming the maddening flame, but that specifically doesn't trigger Rorschach.
Mm-hmm.
So I now know it's not that, which is making me think, shit, balefire.
The fire starts to whirl around in a great cyclonic whirlpool of flame until you will see a single figure. When I said he wasn't going to show up in the scene, I lied. Step out of the fire.
I was going to say, when it started whirling, Minori was going to shout, "Stop beating it, you're making it worse, goddammit!"
But this figure will step out of the cyclone of flame.
God damn it. I definitely say that in character.
Okay.
Don't you mean Kami, damn it?
So was
Whatever.
going to
All of
step
them.
back and attempt to hide in the shadows with a cloak of shadows, as much as he
Okay.
can. Just observe.
Slowly inching towards the exit.
I'ma do what my parent clan and bloodline are known for, and I'm just gonna pop out of existence.
Okay, your difficulty to do that will be 10.
Just stop existing.
I don't.
It's almost like you're supposed to actually be here.
But no, it's because it's based on the highest wits alertness in the group. You have to roll against them to pop out of existence with obfuscate, and I know the highest wits alertness here is 10.
If he doesn't disappear, he's just gonna look around and be like, "Why the fuck are you looking at me? Look at him."
For the record, if you people wish to have information on him, he also appears in the vampire NPCs.
So,
It's fine. I know him.
So I was right when I said balefire.
You can read about him if you like.
Yep. All I need is those 2 words. Yama King.
Goddammit.
Fuck.
I'm not running from this guy.
What's the role for cease existence? Because rulebooks have disappeared. By which I mean the entire trove's gone.
What?
Hold on.
Trove is gone.
I'm on it right now.
Well, get on
No,
Trove.
not the trove.
Yeah, it's on. I'm on it.
Is it still there?
It is working.
Trove.net. The Trove.net is working.
It's not gone. Oh, thank God! I was terrified for a second. I was like, shit.
Yeah, it would have reappeared somewhere else anyway. There's a reason I archive most of my role playing books.
Oh, are you just trying to find the book? I can send you the link. I have it open right now.
I can.
No, it's not a specific rule. So just get the rule for obfuscate 4.
Are you talking about Vanish from the Mind's Eye?
Yes.
Yes.
The player rolls her character's intelligence plus stealth against their victim's wits plus awareness. If there is more than one victim, use the highest pool to resist. If the player rolls 1 to 3 successes, the vampire fades but does not vanish, appearing ghostly and translucent. With more than 3 successes, the vampire vanishes from her victim's senses entirely. If the player achieves more successes than the victim, the victim forgets that the vampire was there to begin with and tends to not reflect on any conflicting memory that may cause.
I'm gonna spend a willpower. I'm gonna spend a willpower because 10's a hard roll to beat.
So at the very least, you're going to become ghost-like and translucent.
2 successes.
You are
ghost-like and translucent. We're all just going to look at you as you sort of fade.
Well, someone's turning ethereal on us.
I'm certain I've seen people do rituals that do that.
I'm like that one meme of the dude who shows a peace sign and disappears slowly but halfway.
My. So many faces.
And here I am being the one with the unforgettable one.
I must admit I've missed this city. I do hope that you have all missed me.
I assume he wasn't a regular customer, so no.
I give you a prophecy, Kyoto. You have 3 moons, 3 turns, 3 months. Before it is, the river will run crimson. The night shall become day. And all those whom have stood, whom have been a bulwark against the selfish, the soulless, and the mad, shall be as dust. I warn you, I lament you. I will not weep for you. You who have stood in the rank hallows of hypocrisy. You who have wallowed in your own iniquity, so very pointless. Now, those of you whom come and surrender yourselves to me may be saved. Those of you whom do not, well, I care not. You have been given your warning. You've been given your time. 3 months. And then the night will become day. And all will be as it is, and as it was meant to be. If you give Kyoto into my care and swear your allegiance, I will even put a stop to this fate. If you do not, well, I will merely claim what I wish from your corpses, your piles of dust. How pathetic you all are, like lost children, the lost lambs. But soon you will find a shepherd. He takes one step forward, and as he does so, there's a great gust of wind. His body itself seems to become translucent as he does so, and it's as if the body is swept along in the wind. All the fire is doused. You are plunged into darkness. Above, the only light that shines down is the moon. And on that note, that is where we're going to end our scene.
Before you do that, while everyone's distracted, I flip the table, the food table.
God damn it, I couldn't beat him flip the table. Oh well, at least I have one victory tonight then.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Memories of the Cherry Blossom Throne.